Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Pigskin. I'm glad I can be here, and I just want to send a special thanks before I get to our dream team. My thank you goes up to the Boca Raton Regional Hospital over the Easter weekend. I was unfortunately admitted to the hospital because of a concussion issue, broke my thumb, and had a UTI infection that led to this whole situation. But here I am. I feel pretty good doing this show. I could not have a better crew in front of me to talk about the NFL draft featuring Cam Ward and Xavier Restrepo. We're going to in for a loaded broadcast tonight. First of all, to my left, Ben Troop. Good to have you back, Ben.
Man, it's good. It's good to be back. I'm happy that you feeling better, man. You a trooper for real. If I was in the hospital, I would have definitely tried to stay there a lot longer. But when I talked to Steve yesterday, he was like, "He's not gonna miss it." So look, if you can get out of the hospital, I can make myself available. Good to see you, sir.
Let me tell you something, pal. What I had to do to get out of that hospital, I always am a firm believer that bodies were not meant to be dartboards, but if you go in the hospital, it's a different situation. You can find dartboards anywhere. When you go to the hospital, you're one expensive dartboard, thanks to the kind words. That said, Jennifer, good to have you back on tonight. And obviously, I know that what you're going through with your other half, but I'm glad that you took some time to talk football with us tonight. Jennifer.
You're on mute.
He's on mute, yeah.
Well, we'll get her on off of mute before it's all said and done. Well, when she does come back on, she can answer that. But we'll go on to Steven. And welcome back, Steven. We have a loaded show tonight.
Got a loaded show tonight, and got some news to drop on everyone as always. So we're gonna have some fun tonight, and we're gonna be kicking it with the fam tonight. We got Ben, we got Scott, we got Trav next to me. We got Queen of the Roll Voices, Miss Candy over here. So let's get it kicking, my friends.
And of course, we have one of our all-time favorites, and that's Travis Holmes. Him and I started this show, and we've done a big-time job building it. Travis, glad to have you back on tonight. This one show was like worth 3 or 4 to you, brother.
I'm always happy to be here, man. I'm happy to be able to make it back before the draft. Maybe we can talk about some. Maybe we can get some interesting last-minute takes before this Thursday and Friday. So we'll see how this goes.
Well, we'll have no shortage of that. And now I finally have Jen back on. Welcome back, Jen. Glad to have you on Inside the Pigskin. Jennifer? All right, well, sooner or later. Okay, with that said, let's go ahead and get to the topics. So we have a loaded show going up. First of all, black quarterbacks. There's only been 4 black quarterbacks to ever win a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and Doug Williams. Will we find another one in this year's draft? We're going to start it off with Ben.
I mean, I think you are going to find, 2 in this draft. I think Shadur Sanders, depending on the team he goes to, I think he's definitely, he got that Sanders last name. He understands what it takes to build a franchise. I think he's got a shot. Cam Ward, he's did it at 2 schools. Obviously did it at Wazoo, then came down to Miami, came up a game short of making it in the college football playoff. Yeah, because I think you got 2 guys. And, Jalen Milroe is a 3rd guy, in my opinion, that depending on where he goes. But these guys are coming in understanding who they are. They understand what they're going to mean to these franchises, and they used to making money. They used to being in the limelight. They want iconic status, especially if you've ever seen somewhere Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders are somewhere right now in a restaurant arguing on who got the nicest steak. I've never seen 2 guys that hang out with each other as much as they do, but I like Jalen Milroe. I like Cam Ward. I like Shadur Sanders. I don't know which 3 is going to win one, but I definitely think you got good a shot as any when you have that level of talent coming to the league.
I'll turn over to Steve.
I agree with Ben. I think you got 2 of them in this draft. Cam Ward, probably going to be the consensus number 1 overall pick. I think Tennessee Titans fans would be very happy if Cam Ward becomes a Super Bowl winning quarterback. We'll see how that plays out. I don't know if he'll do it in Tennessee or winds up moving elsewhere to do it. But I do agree with the sentiment that I don't think it does not matter where Shedeur Sanders winds up. I think he will, before his career is over, be a Super Bowl champion. I know there's a lot of people that are trying to tear him down about this and he's too confident, he's too cocky, he doesn't have the arm, they're trying to find everything that he doesn't have, but you don't talk about the things that he does. And I do think he's one of these guys that he has the mental toughness and things of that nature. We talked about it over the years of just how the media loves to nitpick and rip down the black quarterback, try to find anything they can do to discredit it. And I think we're seeing it all play out this year with what's going on with Shedeur Sanders. It's an absolute sin. It needs to freaking end. It doesn't matter if he's black, if he's white, if he's Asian, if he's Puerto. It does not matter. All it matters is can he play ball? Can he help his team win games? And can he lead men? We know that both Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders can do that. I do think we have two more in this draft.
Okay. What about you, Travis?
Hey man, you just had me thinking about that old Michael Jackson song. It doesn't matter if you're black or hey, bro. That was it. That's why I could not laugh at it. I'm sorry. But no, yeah, you make some real solid points, Stephen. I mean, actually, all of you honestly make some really solid points. Like, I think that it feels like you have to say the one guy who feels like the closest to a can't miss prospect in this class, obviously, is Cam Ward. So you kind of have to say that, but I'm also a Jacksonville Jaguars supporter. I cover the Jacksonville Jaguars also, and we don't like the Titans. F the Titans. So, in my personal opinion, that's the one black quarterback I hope don't win a Super Bowl. I'm just gonna be honest with you. But anyone else, if you want to do Shedeur Sanders, cool, that's fine. Jalen Milroe, also great. Sounds fine. But if you want to be real about it, most quarterbacks in these draft classes, as far as late, if you're not one of those can't miss guys, don't win a Super Bowl, and that's okay. Like that, if that's the goal, if that's the line, then we setting these boys up for failure. So I'm not going. I don't personally believe these guys are going to win a Super Bowl, and the one that I think has the best chance of actually winning one, I pray to God don't. So that's what we are. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
Everyone loves Ben's hat, man.
That is funny. Oh, that is funny. All right, so who's already spoken so far?
We need Candy and Jen.
And Candy, if you start messing around with this rotation one more time,
I haven't messed with it.
I'm going back to Boca Raton Regional Hospital, and you can host this thing. I have enough problems as it is. All right, so hello, Brian Pettit. I feel a little bit better. Thank you very much. Eddie Prather, always good to have you on, my friend. Hello, Kerry Johnson. Love that hat, Ben. See, Ben, look at us. You're getting all these compliments with that hat. Really, seriously, really, the man with the hat. All right.
It's what I do, man. It's what I do.
All right. Hey, Jennifer, you have a thought on this?
Yes. And just so you know, I'm going to log in on my laptop here in a second.
Okay.
But
okay.
I'm excited to see where Cam Ward does go. I kind of hope for him because I think he has a great career ahead of him. Wherever he goes, he does. And he and everyone else, like Shedeur, I forgot the other guy's name, the top three. But I hope they all sit behind as starting quarterback for at least half a season. Because, I mean, we've seen when it's done to rookies so far. When rookie quarterbacks, like look at Sam Darnold. It took how many seasons to turn his career around after starting right off the bat for the Jets? So that's my hope. I obviously hope that Cam doesn't go to the Jets because like you, I had a great conversation with him, but I had it at ACC kickoff. So, and just so you know, I'm about to jump online with the camera on from my laptop, just so you know.
Well, that's all right. No problem, Jen. We're just glad you're on the show. Our biggest show of the year. You always find a way to make it on this one every year. Our draft special. That's really great that you actually are on here.
Well,
and now we have Jennifer. Now we can see her. Woo! Look at this stuff. Great stuff. Hey, all right. Now we got the blonde bomber here, the professional band. Good stuff. Now we can all see it. My head may be messed up, but my eyes are looking all right. But okay, Katie, what are your thoughts? And I have a few thoughts on this. So we got a loaded show, folks. We're just getting started. Katie, what do you think? Who's going to be the next guy?
The next, or do I think they're going to make?
The
Do
next
I think
black guy that could win the Super Bowl, Candy?
I do think Cam Ward can do it. Now, do I think he's necessarily going to do it in Tennessee? Possibly, possibly not. I think that's where he's going to start, but I don't necessarily mean that that's where he's going to win a Super Bowl. Because let's face it, some of these quarterbacks don't always stay in one. They're not the Patrick Mahomes and stay in one spot for a long time. We've seen a lot of rotations, a lot of movement. Do I think he could do it in Tennessee? I don't know that he has enough supporting cast in Tennessee to do it. But it also takes the right coaching. And I honestly think a lot of that coaching and a good quarterback's coach. And obviously you got to be protected. Let's face it. If you're getting killed up all the time, there's no way you're going to, be able to produce. Although Cam can move and he can be elusive and he can ward off, play on words. Cam Ward can ward off some of his attackers, and so he is strong like that. But for them to, let's face it, if these teams are drafting high in the draft, that's normally because they were not very good last year. So do we think that instantaneously they're going to be these superpowers? No. It's going to take time, and this might not even be the team that he goes there with. But I do see him at some point being able to get a Super Bowl. Sanders, again, he has talent. Do I see it? Got to be the right situation, because I don't know about that one.
I'm with you, Candy. I don't know about Sanders. Like I think has
he
the talent, but my question is coachability. I feel like he'll be a Caleb Williams. How coachable is he?
Well, you know what? Here's what I'm going to say about this, because Eddie Prather's on fire. I'm going to make sure everything he gets on there does go ahead. And leave that one up, Candy, in a few seconds, because I'm going to lead off with this in the next 7. That one can stay up. That way I don't lose my place. I thought Jaden Daniels was going to be the latest African-American that would win the Super Bowl. I think he has a really good chance of doing it. But as far as this draft class is concerned, I do believe Cam Ward will do it. Again, the biggest question here is whether he will do it with Tennessee. Jaden Daniels' upside is just ridiculously unbelievable. And he came that close in his first year of set records like no other. It's safe to say the Washington franchise is definitely revitalized, let alone the fact they're going to tear down RFK Stadium, and it looks like a new stadium is on the horizon at the RFK site, for which I have to tell you, everybody, I saw a couple of Redskins games there against the Lions. We know the Lions weren't beating the Redskins there, but it was great to be able to cover a game at RFK Stadium. So great stuff all the way around. Glad to have a dream team tonight. So speaking of Xavier Restrepo, I was on Travis and I should both say we were on the Daniel Jeremiah call, right? Travis, he's the first one that quickly reached out to me. He's a Canes leader in yards. So where do you see him going? Let me just preface this by saying, okay, that when we talked about this on the Daniel Jeremiah call, and again, Travis and I were both on it. Daniel Jeremiah, and a few on X was it's complicated evaluation. 40-yard speed, a little bit speed is a little slower. Runs good routes, excellent hands. A day 3 pick. Now let me preface these words by saying it's a complicated evaluation for a guy like this. So there's no better place for me to lead off than with Travis Holmes. I know you said that you like the questions I have. So you're going to lead off on this one, Travis, okay, since we were both on the call. What's your interpretation of Xavier Restrepo?
I mean, his testing put him into a obviously rough situation. I mean, just past the social media stuff, just past the teams, who may have already had the questions. A lot, like we've seen situations like this, like with Allen Hurns. Former leading receiver for the Miami Hurricanes, and then it ends up becoming an undrafted free agent just because he didn't test well, even though his film said he actually did very well. When you're getting into a wide receiver class, it's not top heavy at all, but it's absolutely deep with a lot of guys who you have questions, but could absolutely just explode on the scene. That's you're going to be pushed down the line just when you have the bad testing that you have when having those questions. So now seems like he's going to be one of those guys who are going to be prototypically a slot wide receiver. You put him into that right situation where he can find the holes in the zone. He doesn't have to deal with as much press coverage with these NFL guys, and it may work out for him. Again, it's going to depend on where he goes, but it's sounding like he's going to be in that mid third round to maybe even mid to late fourth round range. But again, just using that Allen Hurns example, the guy went undrafted, but ended up signing a $40 million contract extension with the Jaguars. At one point, it was looking really good. So it's not a death sentence to say you're going in the third round and you'll find your role in the NFL, but it's just to say he had an opportunity to be in a high second rounder if he would just test it well and had his film match the testing. He didn't, and this is where we are.
So, Travis, my follow-up question to you is, what were your thoughts about some of the other follow-up questions I had? I don't remember all of them, but you were quick to text out to me, acknowledging that we had a few in terms of the rest of the Hurricanes.
Now you're asking me. That was a long call. That was like a 2-hour call. It was the exact question.
Yeah, but you were there long enough to catch that one. Listen, you stay on that call.
I gave you a shout out when you asked the question. I thought it was a dope question when you asked it. Like I was like, hey, yo, Scott, I like that. But what was the question specifically? Nah, bro.
I think the one thing we talked about, if I recall correctly, because I am honestly dealing with memory issues here too. Unfortunately, Alzheimer's disease does that to you. But the thing help me recollect a little here. This was something I really need to do. What other Miami Hurricane prospects did he see going and where? Does that jog your memory a little bit?
I mean, it does. I still couldn't tell you what his answer was.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was just one of the many good questions. Again, it's a 2-hour call when him rapid firing the answers. I just didn't recall the answer.
I think Elijah Arroyo was one of them. So as one of the ones he talked about. All right. Well, thanks there. But obviously Restrepo was one. And so there's another comment I'm going to put up there, Candy, and I'm going to turn it over to everybody else, because this is another one by Pray There really gets it done. So I don't think in my mind, well, all right, well, he's talking about Dallas. Okay. So I'll go back to that later. All right, go ahead, Stephen. What are your thoughts on Restrepo?
Yeah, he's I think his biggest thing was like as Travis was saying, like not looking good in the 40. Some guys had it like 4.84. Some had it 4.78. But like when you go and you go on and look at his numbers elsewhere, he's ran 4.58. So so having that, and then you look at it and he's basically been one of the few wide receivers that gone back-to-back years of 1,000 yards receiving. He's broken all the school records there and things of that nature. He's got some pretty good catches under his belt when you look at his tape. And I think Travis already said it depends on where he finds his role there. I think when we look at where he's going to be, the type of receiver is, his size, things of that nature, I think he's where he's going to make his bread and butter in this league is in the slot. I don't think he's going to be an outside guy, being barely 6 foot or so. With a lot of the guys that you have in the league nowadays, especially most of your tight ends are like 6'5" anymore. So it's one of those things where you have to see where he grades out. You could see him being like a Cooper Kupp-esque type guy when we're looking at it, like just playing the slot, but also moving around as the play develops and things of that nature. As far as where he winds up, I agree. It's second or third round, and it's not a crazy draft as far as supreme talent in the wide receiver position. But I think some place that needs that slot guy. You maybe see him go somewhere like the Rams. go to the Patriots, maybe even see him somewhere like Baltimore, something like that. We'll see how it plays out, but I don't think he'll be a day 3 pick. In my opinion, he'll be somewhere in that second, third, maybe fourth round.
Good point. Sorry, I'll turn it up to Ben.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you talk about sometimes when it comes to a player of his caliber, his play don't match what his play didn't match what he did when he was just had on shorts. And I get it. Sometimes it don't happen that way, but he's going to be in the slot. He's going to have to carve out a niche for himself. I like the Rams. There's a lot of young quarterbacks that need slot receivers to help them. So you got a bunch of quarterbacks in Atlanta. You got a quarterback, in Carolina. You got Justin Fields over there with the Jets. So you got a lot of quarterbacks that's going to have to find a rapport. Young quarterbacks like young receivers who's going to do all they can to impress them. But his production at Miami and what he did in his pro day, it's a head scratcher because you like, what? It just don't go together. And the thing about these coaches, man, they want to see what type of athlete you are. That's all a pro day is. What type of athlete are you? What am I getting? And he's a football player more than an athlete. He can play, no doubt about it. But when I think Miami receivers, unfortunately, we compare them. When I'm thinking Miami receivers, I'm thinking, Santana Moss, Reggie Wayne, Andre Johnson. And he broke all their records. He broke all those guys' records, but he's not that player. If he goes to a scheme, if he goes to a team like the Rams that can do how they did with Puka Nacua and say, "Hey, we got a game plan for you. We got some plays for you." While he's not gonna get jammed like Trav said, these slot corners they making $40 million now. That's where the ball's going on third down. So either he's gonna be all about that action, or he gonna hate his life because he's gonna get the third corner on the team, which is just right outside of being a starter, but. It's gonna be interesting to see where he goes because he got a big game now. You turn on the tape, he flashes. I mean, he's a good player, and like I said, man, having a guy like Cam Warren throwing in the ball, who's probably going to be the number 1 overall pick. When he ran, I mean, receivers aren't like quarterbacks. They can't tell the pros, "I don't want to run today." Yes, you are. We got to see how fast you are. And he's just not fast. I'm not saying they're the same player, but when Anquan Bolden came out of Florida State, he wasn't that fast either. And I'm not saying they are the same player. So certain guys just ain't fast. Calvin Johnson looks and plays the same. He's 6'5", 230. He can run a 4.3. Well, he's also a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's the rarest of the rare. I think he goes to a good scheme that's going to throw him the football. I think he'll be just fine. But when I saw it, and I went to Florida. When I saw it, I'm still rooting for the play. I'm like, is that real? Like, did he really run it? So I don't know. Maybe he just had a bad day, and he picked the wrong day to have a bad day. But he had a bad day. But I do see him going. Look, I went to the second round. So if you drop to the second or third, you a top 90-something player. You get a chance to go out there and compete to be a starter. It's just gonna come down to where he goes and what type of plan they have for him.
All right, Jennifer, what are your thoughts about the X-Man?
I like Xavier. I think he's going to have a really good career. Again, he's got the natural talent. But I have to tell you this, Ben. This is like just killing me. You are totally giving me Cam Newton vibes. Like with the hat and the muscles and the necklace, and the facial hair, dude. You were totally giving me Cam.
Hey, listen. I'm from Georgia. I'm from Georgia, just like Cam. I'm a lot older than Cam. Cam went to Florida. I went to Florida. He ended up winning the Heisman. I never won no Heisman. So yeah, if Cam Newton is looking at this, Cam, I want all your hats and I want the HBO special. That's to help a brother out. I'm not paying $1,500 for no hat. I can have a hat store. So if I've never been compared to Cam, so I would make sure and tell my wife, I'm getting compared to Cam these days. She said, "Well, you better get out there and cut that grass." I said, "Okay, I'm gonna cut the grass, but I'm not gonna like it. I'm not gonna like it."
See, Jennifer, I told you we got characters on this show.
We do. I love it.
I'm telling you, we're remaking this show with these guys here. I'm there to build a legacy. And in the eyes of Robert Ephraim, once upon a time, although a crazy story, he wanted to be, but he says, "I'm not knocking no doors." In another lifetime, when I did alarm systems and insurance, that was above him, but he's trying to build a legacy. But Robert don't know. I'm building one with this group. Period. All right. Yeah. Anything else you want to say?
I would personally love it if we drafted him, but I think our first round draft pick will probably go to Mason Graham. Okay. Because we do need some wide receivers. We don't have a legit wide receiver coach. And Ben, I believe we're in the I-85 South rivalry, sir. So keep pounding me, amigo. But that being said, I also so I'm hearing one rumor here that we could be calling the Lions to see what the acquisition cost for Jameson Williams will be. So because he and Bryce played together at Bama. But I truly expect Xavier to have just almost a Steve Smith type career, a Teal, I truly do. I mean, we're talking, he has steadily grown, he's improved since 2020, and he's just been building blocks. And that's the way to do it. That's what impresses me most about Xavier.
Well, let me tell you something, Jennifer. I was as Travis and I'll tell you, we were on that call, but I was looking at his Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft, and he has Mason Graham projected to go to the Carolina Panthers, just so you know. So
Oh,
you must
really?
be, yeah, you must be doing some homework in addition to the fact that you're doing some other good stuff with your other half. But that's exactly where Daniel Jeremiah has him slotted. All right, I'll just say this. I'm going to give Candy the last word on this one. And that's this. Well, no, I'm giving Candy, and then I'll take the last word.
Candy's like, yes, you are.
All right, go ahead, Candy. I don't want to steal what she's probably thinking, so I'm not going to. I've already dealt with the. I've been in the meat house the last few days, being a dartboard. Go ahead, Candy.
So I got Travis, I got your back. Okay? So Scott asked you a question. What else did you ask Jeremiah? Here, right from the transcripts, this is the question you asked, Mr. Scott. I cover the Miami Hurricanes. We had like 20 people, 20 guys work out for us. With that said, I want to talk about Xavier Restrepo and Ward's top receiver. Where do you think he's going to end up in the draft? I have a kicker, Andrew Borregales, who is pretty good. Please answer the Restrepo question. And do you see a lot of other Hurricanes being on NFL rosters as time goes on? Because we've had a lot of talent down here with Mario Cristobal. His response, yes. Mario has done a great job. Everything I've heard, and I've talked to Mario, and everybody I've talked to that is around him on a day-to-day basis says, you will not find a guy who works harder, is more intense, and especially with recruiting and how he goes about it. Like, he's done a great job of getting that program going. With Restrepo, he's a tough evaluation. It's hard to hide. I know he wasn't right feeling great with the 4.85 on the pro day. That was tough. But somebody who is really, really, he's quicker than fast. Oh, he's quicker than fast. When you watch him play, really instinctive setting zones. He's slippery with the ball in his hands. He's got excellent, excellent ball skills. It's just a matter of, okay, he's not going to play outside. He has to play inside. And how well is that going to translate when you don't have that big time speed? He's someone I think is going to be a day 3 pick at this point in the time in the process. We'll see how high up in the range he could go. I would say, man, the 5th round would probably be about where I would guess he comes off the board in that range. There's other really good players there, though. One guy who had an excellent workout, who I would say has helped himself the most from all-star games through the process of the combine, Tyler Barron, probably went from a 5th or 6th round pick to a 3rd or 4th round pick as an edge rusher. When you're almost 6'5", you are darn near 260, and you run the low 4.6s, and you flash, which is what he is. He flashes with a shake bull rush. Power. He can dip at the top of his rush. He does a good job at just shooting gaps and making plays against the run. He helped himself a ton. Damien Martinez ran better than a lot of people anticipated. As a big back, he ran 4.51 at 217 pounds. He's been productive throughout the career at Oregon State and over to Miami. Jalen Rivers is an intriguing inside-outside, can play guard, can play tackle. He's a massive human being. He's going to be a mid-round pick. There's a bunch of other ones. They've done a good job. They've got a bunch of guys that are going to hear their name called. And it sounds like that's just kind of the beginning there. Anytime you have first overall pick in the draft, which we assume they will, and Elijah Aurora, who will go in the top 50 picks, I can imagine the social media accounts that will have blasted out to all their recruits in a quick manner. The one thing I'm going to say personally about Xavier is, Ben, you talked about Xavier passing all of those other receivers. And one thing we forget, he did it with how many different quarterbacks? It's not like it was just him and Cam all 3 years or all 4 years. He's done it with a bunch of different quarterbacks. And that takes skill, because let's face it, when you go from one quarterback who throws it a different way, he's even had different quarterbacks coaches, I think, or different other coaches come in there too. So different offensive schemes and different overall coaches. That takes talent. It takes time. When you see these NFL, that's why in the NFL, who watches the first? A lot of people watch the first 2 games, but everybody's real critical about, oh, we're not going to have a good season. They're not gelling because they didn't do as many preseason games. So for a quarterback and a wide receiver to click, and for a wide receiver to get the yards that Xavier did while at Miami, is a testament to him. Yes, did he run it as fast? No. Is he as big as some of the other ones? No, but he is elusive. He's got this quick darting about himself, and he's instinctually very football oriented and kind of knows, like, okay, if Cam's in trouble, where am I supposed to be? Where is he going to look for me? I think paired up with the right quarterback in the right scheme, he could excel very well.
All right. All I'm going to say about this is, in a perfect world, and this world is anything but perfect, okay, I would love to see Xavier Restrepo, a Tennessee Titan, with Cam Ward. And he's there for the taking. If everybody thinks it's going to be a third-day pick, who knows? Maybe they'll have enough compensatory picks and all kinds of extra picks to put them together in Tennessee with the Titans. I'd love to see that. But the one thing that I can tell you about Xavier Restrepo is this: yards after the catch. That's the key. The guy has excellent hands. He certainly has average speed, and he doesn't drop the football. What else more do I have to say? But ideally, I'd love to see him. This guy is one of those guys who could be a sleeper in the pick. And I would be caught dead comparing him to Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But how many times have you ever seen a quarterback get his own receiver and they've been able to go out there and do some pretty good things? So that's the biggest thing. And I like what Eddie Prather saying, bleep the 40-yard dash. I don't want a track runner. I want a football player. Xavier is a dream football player. Eddie Prather, bingo, bullseye, whatever you want to call it. So let's go back and put his other comments up there. But that's what I think. I'd love to see Xavier Restrepo and Cam Ward join forces.
You know what, Scott? I'm with you. I'm so with you, Scott. The Tennessee Titans should get Xavier, and they should get Cam. You know what? I'm so with you. I would rather that than they get a top wide receiver. So I'm cool with, if you want to give it to somebody who's going to be a slot only guy, I'd rather the Tennessee Titans do that, because again, I want the Tennessee Titans to be as bad as possible. And that's just where I am. I can BS you, y'all being so nice, and I love it that y'all so gracious and so nice people. I don't care about none of that. I'm just, hey man, he's got less than 30-inch arms, and he ran a slow 40. And I don't know what to do with that information. I'm hoping he lands in a good spot. But if I'm someone who does not want the team to be successful, and I don't want them to bring in the top receiver, then I'm going to ask that they bring in a slot-only receiver to match with their quarterback, who I have a little bit of questions on. As a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, I approve of that transaction. Please feel free.
So there you go, Steven. There you go, Ben. I got the best of Travis Holmes tonight talking about the X-Men. All right, so now with that, I'm telling you, this guy, everybody on this broadcast tonight, I tell you, now I know I had to do some hard work to get out of the hospital to be with this group. I'll tell you, that's motivation and step. Okay, go ahead. What was the last thing Dallas doesn't get McMillan? I hope they get Xavier.
No, look at Eddie's recent comment. Look at Eddie's recent comments.
Yeah, I like a good route runner at wide receiver, not speed guys like Gold. All right, that's okay. All right, so let's continue on. I just hope he ends up in Tennessee, and then whatever happens. What's that?
Oh, I read Eddie's comment that Jerry Rice didn't run a good 40, and I said, good point.
Okay. All right. Well, you know
That's
what?
always whenever you have a bad point, you gotta always go into that one person that did it, and it's like, hey, it's possible. Nah, come on, man, that's a bad point. Yes, Jerry Rice did not run a good 40. That's what everybody who has a bad quarterback always tries to compare them to Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was terrible, and he became great. Good. But a lot of there's hundreds of quarterbacks who were also terrible and never became good. Not great,
Right.
just good. Come on, man. Everybody ain't Jerry Rice. That's crazy.
And by the way, let me ask everybody a quick question. Candy, put the picture of Irvin up. Who's one of the best wide receivers in Miami Hurricanes history? I'll give you one that I would definitely say. Put up that picture.
Playmakers.
All right, well, whatever. Go ahead, put the picture up, Candy.
I'm getting it. Give me a minute here. Oh
Yeah,
my
there you go.
goodness.
There's a Dallas fan out there. You definitely gonna like this picture.
Yeah, it's the playmaker. Who else could it be?
Him, Michael Irvin.
Yeah, exactly.
I got him at the Super Bowl, and Michael's a good cat, boy. I'm telling you.
That dude.
So if I'm going to talk about Miami Hurricanes wide receiver, I want it to be known now that Michael Irvin to me sets the standard for wide receivers, let alone coming out of the U. We'll stay on the Miami Hurricanes theme real quick. I know that this was brought up on Three Chicks in a Pod. We're going to duplicate it here. Cam Ward's comment about being drafted in Green Bay. Roll it, Candy.
Okay, getting there.
What are the thoughts that it's going to happen in Green Bay, the home of the Packers in Titletown, and the history of pro football being a bucket list place to go? I mean, all the history is just unbelievable. Now you're going to have an opportunity to be on that big stage in that particular area.
Yeah, that's where you want to get drafted at. That's football heaven over there, and nothing is with football. That's all the world to know me as a football player. I wake up every day, try to keep the same mindset, work at it. But the draft in Green Bay, ain't nothing like it, just because there ain't nothing to do there but football. So that's where you want to be. Most proud of.
There you have it. A man that knows his history. You're going to go to Green Bay. Let's preface this whole thing. Detroit brought in 770,000 people back at the draft last year, which Candy and I were able to cover. Awesome stuff. Green Bay is projected to get about 250,000, but the history in Green Bay is unbelievable. But to think, this guy knows history. There's no way he's going to become a Green Bay Packer, but he'll certainly get a good dose of Lambeau Field when he walks in there thinking maybe there's a chance I might end up being on this field during the playoffs. So let's let our imagination run wild. Travis Holmes, what are your thoughts about the comments of Cam Ward being in Green Bay where he gets his first NFL start?
Man, I heard what he said. I heard what he said, but then I heard his heart. And what he said and what it seemed like he was saying ain't the same thing. That man said ain't nothing else to do there. So all you have to do is football. And I'm sitting there like that man don't want to be there. No way in the world that man want to be there. That man about to be a whole millionaire, and you think he want to be in some doggone Green Bay, Wisconsin? No, hell, I almost cursed. No, that man wants to be somewhere where it's sunny and people in bathing suits. Like that. Come on, man. We know what this is, and that ain't Tennessee either. But Tennessee's a lot less snow than Wisconsin with them cheese heads. And I love. Nah, bro. Come on, man. Be better. We all know that face that man made. This is a job interview, and he got to say what he got to say. But also, I bet that man thinking his lucky star that Green Bay is not drafting number one because there's no way he wants to be there.
I can tell you one thing about Travis Holmes, as we say in Toastmasters, at least he knows body language, that's for sure. So we'll turn it over to Jennifer. What are your thoughts about what Cam had to say about it? You can re-echo your thoughts, by the way, on Three Chicks in a Pod, which did precede that was ahead of us tonight. Three Chicks in a Pod, Jennifer, Megan Price, Gary Johnson, Candy do a wonderful job on that show. And we're bringing, and we have two of our four angels on there tonight. So thoughts about Cam, Jen?
Again, I like Cam Ward a lot. I liked your question. I thought it was a good question. But now that Travis said that, I'm like, dang, he got some points there. But I do think because there is the history of football is in Green Bay. Anyone who's a Green Bay fan, I think there's two places I would want to go to the draft, and that would be Green Bay because I've never been to Lambeau Field, but for the history of football. But also here in Charlotte. So, for obvious reasons. But I thought it was a good answer that Cam gave. But now, like, Travis, you're making me second guess because you're kind of right.
Well, I lived in Michigan for 6 years. I
Everybody
played with
choked
Matt
up over your
LaFleur for one of
comment.
those years. Like I've been to the stadium. I know players who used to play for Green Bay. Like, and I love all the stuff that you guys are talking about, all the history and everything else. But it's miserable. If you want to play there as a quarterback, when you make your money with your arm, nah, bro. Come on.
I don't know. I mean,
And I didn't even bring up the black part.
playing
He
for Green Bay.
we don't do cold.
Oh, wait a minute. Just because you're a Southern boy doesn't mean it's bad. Really?
I lived in Michigan.
Seriously,
I lived in
really?
Michigan. I
Okay.
trained with the Olympic ski team for 6 years. Nah, bro. This ain't just black. This is about cold. We don't do that.
I know
No.
what cold is. Number one in Michigan, they played in a dome
I do think
with
that
a line.
anyone
Wait. Hey, listen. You know what? Let me tell you, Travis. I love this guy. I really do love this guy. Have you actually ever covered a game at Lambeau Field? Covered one?
Covered a game? Nah.
Yeah. Yes or no?
I said no.
Okay, well, there you go. Yeah, all I'm going to say is, and I'm going to be really polite, put it on your bucket list, and then we'll re-invite you to bring up this topic again.
I'm good. I'd rather cover it on TV. I'm straight.
I'm not. He did something that few people could ever get me to do. No comment, but I'm turning it over to Katie. No comment, people. Put it on record that I said a no comment. No comment. What do you do? Timestamp this stuff? I don't even know anything about the technology business, timestamping reels and whatever you call this stuff. But really,
I got you.
put it on your
So
bucket list. I love covering Green Bay. That's sacred ground. Let me tell you, so football, that's church, okay, is what it is. And I hate to get personal on the show, but I'm going to do it now. Hold on, right? Because everybody's going to laugh here because they know I'm feeling better if I'm out of the hospital. Once upon a time, I was actually dating a lady in Michigan, okay? Her mom wanted to get to know me pretty good. Said, you ever go to church and read the Bible? Said, Mrs. So-and-so, the only Bible I read is the NFL record book on Sundays. That's not really what you want to know from a potential family member down the road. It's safe to say that relationship didn't go much further than that. But, she was thinking of Bible, and my NFL Bible is my Bible is the NFL record book. Bingo. So for anybody looking for dating advice, that's not the place to get it. But anyways, I thought
just going to get in trouble. So that's a good ending to that story. Good job, dude.
Okay, thank you. I always like to say you always compliment me. Good. All right, Candy, you're not going last this time because I got these two guys, Ben and Steven, chomping at the bit to get on this one. Go ahead, Candy. You're next.
Okay, so let's put the record straight. Scott did not ask Cam if he wanted to play in Green Bay. He asked him about being drafted, the draft in Green Bay. The last time the draft was in Green Bay, it has never been in Green Bay. The last time it was in the state of Wisconsin was in 1940 when the draft was in Milwaukee. Now, Cam said it'd be cool to be drafted there at Lambeau because that is a historic site.
Okay.
Let's face it. Scott and I covered the NFL draft in Detroit last year. Yes, Scott, there was a lot of people there, over 700,000. But was it by the stadium? Was it by Ford Field? No. This is going to have Lambeau Field right there. You as a spectator can go into Lambeau Field. You can go and do a Lambeau leap. You can be inside Lambeau, be inside. They're going to have a huge replica of the Vince Lombardi trophy. There's going to be other things you can do in Lambeau. Yes. Is football, is that hallowed ground? Yes. In Wisconsin, do they love their Green Bay Packers? You betcha they do. Yes, but Travis, to your point, there are lots of other, and to Cam's point, there are a lot of other things you can do in Wisconsin. You just don't want to do them because you are a fair-weathered fan. You like the warm weather. So you're not a skier. You're not a want to go snowboarding, or or that kind of stuff. But the draft is being held in 2 days. It's supposed to be in the 50s. It's not cold weather, cooler weather than you probably care to like. But for some of those people, that's great weather. And I think it's cool because it is in such. I like the fact that the NFL is moving it around. It has been historically for the longest time, it's been in Radio City in New York, and it's been a TV event. And now they're making it more of a spectator event where people can go, and it's not just about the day, the NFL draft. Can I tell you guys, do you guys know that two of the school systems around the area are closing down? Tomorrow is their last day of classes at some of them, because some of the schools are so close to the grounds that they're going to sell parking spaces, and that the funds that they use are going to be used for education and sports in the schools. How cool is that? That's something you don't see in a lot of other towns. And this is for something that we watched on TV for up until 2015, so till they took it on the road. Lambeau will never get the Super Bowl. Never. Not in its current state. There's no way. So why not have the second biggest event that the NFL has? We're moving NFL games overseas and trying to promote other places. I love the fact that it's going to be in Green Bay.
All right. Well, guess what, Ben? How do you like following Miss Candy? I'm going to tell you something. Everybody thinks that Green Bay is bad. Don't tell that to Reggie White, who put the darn place on the map in free agency. Don't let alone the fact that you're telling it to Bart Starr, who won a key playoff game at the frozen tundra. Brett Favre did pretty good, too, being a Mississippi guy. While Aaron Rodgers, he played there. Another story. I'll leave it at that. Okay, Ben, go ahead.
Who's Brett Favre?
I respect Cam Ward. He's very, very diplomatic. I like the fact that he looked you in the eye when he was saying those things. He don't want to play in Green Bay. If you ask him where Wisconsin is on a map, he couldn't point to it. Look, Cam Ward went from Washington to Miami. He wants nothing to do with cold. He don't want to do with rain. Cam Ward is saying all the right thing because he wanted to say, I played in Green Bay. It was a different kind of cold. It's hard to describe how cold Green Bay is. It just really, really is. And those fans be right there. That's when Brett Favre was the quarterback. That's when Aaron Rodgers was backing him up. There's cold and there's Green Bay cold. But I agree with Trav. If there was something to do with Wisconsin, I didn't see it. I saw a Hardee's and I saw the hotel we stayed in and I saw Lambeau. Now, I'm not saying there ain't no skiing. Listen, Miss Candy say that skiing. Let me tell you something. If I'm skiing, I done lost a bet or something. I ain't never skied in my life. I done seen snow before. I know you got a little snow lift, and I get to take you to the top of the mountain. No. And like I said, getting drafted by Green Bay or going there as a free agent, it's like going to Buffalo. You know how many people go to Buffalo think it's going to be like New York? No, that's upstate New York. It's not the same thing. But, it is Green Bay. It is about as historic as it get. It don't get much more historic than that. Vince Lombardi, Bart Starr, and the list goes on and on. If Cam Ward, who's going to my Titans, them two-tone blue boys, he's probably not going to win one. Trav is a freaking Jaguar. It could have just been me and Trav on here tonight. The reason why Trav is saying what he's saying, you know why Trav know about bad quarterbacks? Because he got one. He got one making the same amount as Josh Allen. He got to deal with it. He got to deal with this long-haired, long-neck quarterback named Trevor Lawrence. And that's another show for another day. I am not mad at Trav for getting his money, but I would say this about Cam Ward. Cam Ward is really, really good at holding court. When he's doing interviews, he's already learned that part. Like the way he looked over his shoulder, he's looking right at you. They have to teach players how to do that. And he knows how to do it. So he's not going to Green Bay. If come 2 days and if 2 days from now Green Bay trade up the number one to get Cam Ward, Jordan Love gonna be like, what the hell? What is y'all doing? Like what's going on? So I like his answer. I like what he said, but unless he like Hardee's, he ain't doing that. He ain't gonna do that in Wisconsin. If that was the case, he would have transferred to Wisconsin.
Wait a minute. Hold it. You're just messing up my professor and the pupil show. Really? Seriously, really? Let me tell you, Stephen Reichel and I had a show on boxing. And you know what? You want a great bar fight? Go to Kroll's West out in Green Bay. I've never seen a better bar fight over at Kroll's West in Green Bay. These people really go after each other.
What are you? Whoa! You talking about a bunch?
Kroll's West?
A bunch of white dudes fighting each other in a bar drinking beer? That's not a fight.
I don't remember what color they were. Maybe that
you know what color they were. Listen, if it was a black guy there, he would have stopped the whole fight. Stop it, fellas. Stop that.
Scott said he will see color.
I'm not stopping at that. Wait, hold it. Let me explain. You're talking about Hardee's. I want to give some free advertising to Kroll's West out in Green Bay. They don't get the stuff until you've been there in a place where you don't do anything. Let's not forget the fact that Dan Devine had his.
Wait a minute, Scott. You said you and the Candy going on a cruise. Why ain't y'all never vacation in Green Bay? Because you don't want to go.
No, I've been there many times. No way. Wait a minute. This guy, I love it when he attacks me because then I can come back at him. Say, I'm all right. I'm feeling healed from the 4 days of anything but sunshine in that hospital. But no, I've been to Green Bay many times. Thanks to Lee Remmel, by the way, who all he is in the Hall of Fame and mentored me and tutored me how to handle Super Bowl stuff. And I know how well Cam Ward talked to me. He talked to me many times. No way. Kroll's West in Green Bay. You get these better fights than you can in boxing these days. I know you're giving all these franchises the recognition. I get it. I totally love you. But the fact that don't oversight Kroll's West. Been there. I love going to Green Bay every time I get a chance to go there. I will go there. I'm Green Bay all the way. I'm cold too. I'm from Metro Detroit. I wouldn't classify Metro Detroit as a tropical place. It's anything but. Just because you have the Detroit River near there doesn't mean it's water where you can lay out on the beach there. That's another story. But I'm with you. I mean, like Candy said. And how do you like following Miss Candy? I know you idolize her, don't you?
I do idolize Miss Candy. That's a Rolls Royce to my right. Exactly. I'm just saying it's not Miss Candy. Like I said, on your bucket list, I bet you visiting Green Bay wasn't on there. It was not on your bucket list.
No,
you had to cover those games.
You know what though? That's a good thing. That's a good observation. It wasn't on my bucket list. It didn't have to be on my bucket list. It was automatic. That's what made it so much fun. I got to stand on that field, but hey, this woman here. Let me tell you, here's a little something I have to mention for everybody watching and listening. Candy Ebeling, I know it's hard for her to deal with this now, was a member of the Detroit media taking pictures, and her name been in the Lions media guy, not the Packers. Mind you, I made her famous, is what I did. She's in there. She has to root for the Packers. I realize the reason that brought us together is the Lions and the Packers rivalry. No, I put it on plenty of it. No reason why the Lions and the Packers can't be teammates. And that's an old story out there, but everybody seems to love it. Let alone the fact that they played on our wedding day. We got married at Miller Park. We're all watching the game. But that's a little personal stuff out there, which I have her here. She don't mind it. She's nodding her head because, hey, this wasn't the same guy that got hit with 9 million medications. The only thing he didn't get hit with over in the hospital was a Louisville Slugger, and that one didn't shut him up either. But the fact of the matter is Kroll's West, people. Kroll's West is a great place to watch a boxing match, let alone what was being thrown across the bar. And you're talking about Hardee's and all these other places.
What are you talking about? No, I'm just telling you what happened. Listen. If the best players in their franchise history name is Bart, Brett, and Aaron, I already know who was fighting in that bar that night. I already know who was in there. I'm just telling you. I just know.
Well, you know what? I'll say this much, and I knew the technology thing, but I tell you right now, I'm going to go over to Steven. That's a perfect transition. How many views are we going to get on this exchange, Steven? Let alone the Bart.
Hey, listen, I mean, the points have already been made here. Listen, there's only 3 things you can do in Green Bay: watch football, eat food, and drink. That's it. That's the only fun things worth mentioning. Yes, there's lineage there, and that's great. There's lineage there. That's the Lombardi Trophy's named after him. All that good stuff. Mr. Cam Ward was being his best impersonation of a politician, taking some of them questions and just saying what he had to say. Nobody wants to go to Green Bay. Listen, nobody wants to go to Green Bay.
All right, well,
granted, we've already touched on it, the draft's moving around, things of that nature. That's all you're going to get. Listen, the Cowboy fans might as well get on the same bandwagon because they ain't going to the Super Bowl anytime soon either. So, I mean, there's plenty of good things that come from the draft going to these places, especially some of these cold weather cities where you're typically not going to see Super Bowls. Like, unless you're like Miami, Las Vegas, LA. You could even put my Eagles on there because we ain't getting one either because it's too freaking cold during that time of year. We ain't built a new stadium. We just built one 20 years ago, and there ain't nothing wrong with Lincoln Financial Field. So, listen, we ain't getting one either. We had the draft, the year after we won the Super Bowl. So, listen, that's about as close as we gonna get to a thing like that. Same thing with Green Bay. Eddie's bringing in Pittsburgh. That's another one. Unless they, they've already another team. They already built a stadium. They didn't get a dome. So that another one that'll be a draft capital place. Another one is we've already done New York in so many different ways. So it doesn't matter if you're the Bills, the Jets, or the Giants. That's the draft is the only way you can get something like that. So listen. Cam Ward is, did what he said, what he had to say, did the good political response. There's nothing wrong with liking to be drafted there, but staying there, no. He didn't say he wanted to stay there. We've all cleared that up. But let's be fair. Like this is the Packers Super Bowl, so to speak.
Okay, well, I'll only say one thing. We got a station break, and let me tell you, we got some pretty interesting stuff, but we're only getting started. I only hit this stuff. But the guy that may end up, according to Jeremiah, he says Maxwell Harrison, the cornerback of Kentucky, looks like he's targeted in his mock draft to go there. With that said, we're going to go to a station break, and then when we come back, Travis Holmes is going to have a Jacksonville Jaguars thing to talk about. So stay tuned. Glad everybody back here, and we're going to get to more of your comments as we go on. But what a great show. And we got plenty more. We knew that this draft show was going to be a little bit longer, but there's an awful lot of ground to cover. I'm glad everybody can stay on with us. It only gets better than this. But so go ahead, Andy.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. It talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how the industry has changed and evolved. If you would like to buy a copy, go Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where you can buy the book. There's a link to our merchandise store, as well as a plethora of a lot of great content, including some pictures. There might even be a picture that I took at Lambeau. So go check out the website. If you'd like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you see a red subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, click it, like us, share it with all your friends and family. Monday nights, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesdays and Thursday nights, just never know what we're talking about. Although Thursday nights, Scott does a hockey show, at least now, still during the season. So check it out. If you want to advertise, call Scott, 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest on the show or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
All right. It's worth noting that the Florida Panthers are taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. I was hoping to have Adam Lichtenstein on tonight, but he is covering the Panthers game, but we'll bring him on at a later date. But yes, at this particular point, the score is 1-1 in favor of nobody, 1-1. So Joshua Dorr obviously is an avid Panther fan. And while Joshua was listening, I want to thank him personally for wishing me well wishes when I was in the hospital. He sent me a private text. That was really classy of him to check on me. I was in the hospital 4 times, and he went out there and reached out to me at least 3 times. So the guy truly does have a heart as well. So thanks, Joshua. I'll probably reiterate that point tomorrow. All right, I know we're off to an explosive start, but in an effort to keep my voice somewhat decent, although I got a good, as Travis Holmes would always like to say, we're here to have your back, Scott. And I'm glad he's there if I lose it. But I don't expect to lose it with the direction of this show. But we are going to turn over to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have the youngest group of key decision makers in the NFL right now. We're talking about head coach Liam Cohen, 39, Grant Udinsky, 29, defensive coordinator Anthony Campanelli at 42, and GM James Gladstone at 34. What are your thoughts about those respective hires, Travis?
You're
Muted myself. My apologies.
That's okay.
Well, I mean, we talked about this in pretty great detail on the Duval Dive podcast, but also on BigCatCountry.com, Jaguars SB Nation fan site. But the gist of it being is that Jacksonville Jaguars, while they're leaning into this whole Sean McVay, Les Snead kind of build, where you're just going to have this younger organization and kind of build it through the college ranks, and they kind of lean into that same thing in a similar fashion with their roster. The Jacksonville Jaguars have the 6th youngest roster in the NFL also, but the Minnesota Vikings and the LA Rams are also top 3 in those same areas. So it's kind of like this is just the way that they do things. This is the way that the Sean McVay kind of built his original staff after getting rid of Wade? What was his name? Wade, defensive coordinator. Old school guy, played for coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Wade Phillips. There you go. Yeah, Wade Phillips. After getting rid of Wade Phillips, even they lean into the younger staff from moving forward. So that's just kind of this is kind of their way of doing things. If it goes bad, it's going to be because they're just not good, but not because of the youth piece. I mean, we've seen old school coaches be equally bad because they're stagnant and then they're unwilling to, they're willing to mature with the game as far as, maybe their motion usage, maybe they're blitzing, maybe just moving the guys around, things of that nature. So at the end of the day, Jacksonville Jaguars, in my literal adult lifetime, have never had anyone who was forward pushing as far as an offensive guy who's just going to have a modern offense. Just basic stuff. You know what I mean? Just making it hard on defensive backs to kind of understand what you're doing on the offense and not giving things away by your formation and those types of things. So I'm excited for that with Liam Cohen, and we'll see what that means for the rest of the staff. I do have some concerns because a lot of guys in their first time roles means 2 of the 3 guys might be great and 1 guy might struggle. And if that 1 guy just happens to be your defensive coordinator, then they may be in a tough spot. They may end up having a rough first season. So we'll see what that goes, though.
Well, I mean, a big part of all this is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not going to let the Jacksonville Jaguars raid their staff like the Lions let Chicago raid theirs and Ben Johnson. But, we'll see how that plays out for sure. In fact, if you're going to get any of those coaches, they're going to leave on their own when their contracts expire. But there's a young coaching staff there. I want to turn over to Steven, though. What are your thoughts about the youth movement in the front office in Jacksonville?
Listen, there's nothing wrong with going young. I mean, I remember there was a time that no one even knew who Howie Roseman was. His welcome to the NFL movement was the TO situation with Donovan McNabb. And then right after that, he had a deal with Chip Kelly running him out because he wanted full control over the team. Listen, being young is not going to be a reason why the Jacksonville front office or coaching staffs fall short. It's either the talent on the field that's brought in that doesn't develop the way they want to, or as Travis was just saying, they're just not very good. Youth just shouldn't play a factor into it. Everyone was telling me, 4 or 5 years ago, Nick Sirianni was too immature. He couldn't lead a group of men. He can't get them to go together. I think we found over the last few years that's not true. I mean, granted, Nick's a little bit older. He's like 43 now or something to that nature. So it's like sitting there using youth as a crutch to sit there and say that these guys wouldn't succeed. I won't buy to that. Just it's either you're good at your job or you're not. It's plain and simple. These guys now have a unique opportunity to play with house money. There's no expectation on the Jacksonville Jaguars to do anything at this point in time. So whatever these guys turn out over the next few years is on them now. That you guys do your due diligence as far as drafting guys, bringing guys in, things of that nature. If there's something wrong, don't wait. Don't wait. We already seen how everything plays out in this league. You have a 2-year window, maybe to kind of make your mark in a franchise and say that you're putting your flag down and this is who I am. This is what we're going to do. So I look forward to seeing what Jacksonville does. They're in a unique situation as Ben was already talking about. They got the worst, most expensive quarterback of this era right now.
Watch your mouth.
I'm watching it. It looks pretty good on my end, my friend. But listen, the front office, I think they'll be fine. The coaching staff, it's really up to if they can get these guys to believe in what they're doing and play together, play as a team. Other than that, let's see what the season unfolds for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Got to turn up the bed.
I think when I think about Mr. Khan and the owner and everything he's gone through, I mean, you talk about going from a guy like Urban Meyer. You saw how that ended up being. Doug Peterson wasn't able to be the guy to do it. The reason why you get young coaches is because you got young players. I want coaches that are young enough to resonate. They might not know who the hell they listening to on the radio or who they listen to on their iTunes, but I got to be able to resonate with them. Liam Cohen, I ain't never seen a coach get hired like that. I mean, he told either something went really bad in Tampa or he really wanted to be in Jacksonville because he went ghost for like 72 hours, whatever it was, right? And still tried to go back to Tampa and pull some of the coaches. They was like, what?
Right.
Dude, we didn't even know who you was for 3 days. Even though you became the head coach, I think Liam Cohen will be the reason why Trevor Lawrence either plays really well or he doesn't, because he helped Baker Mayfield, so he's used to having number 1 overall picks. Even though a guy like Lawrence, you want to see what it is. But I see the Jacksonville Jaguars saying in their front office, look, we got to blow it up because we had the same guys around so long, from the Tom Coughlins and those type of guys, to where now none of these players respect those guys. I don't care what you did when you was with the Giants. What are you doing now? And you got some really, really good young players. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do with a Trevon Walker. He going to cost a lot of money when this contract come up, and you are already paying the other Josh Allen, the one who rushed the passer. I don't know what's going to go on with a guy like, Travis Etienne and Tank Bixby and Evan Ingram. So you got players. You need to have a coach that resonates with them to be able to say, look, man, I am not here to tell you guys how to be pros. I'm here to show you how to win games. So we'll see if it works. Because I thought Mr. Khan was going to stick with some of these, because old school coaches have old school mentalities. And if it's not working, you got to blow it up. Now, they got to still go out there and win. Like Trav said, look, it better work, because they went through a lot to get it. The thing about these young coaches is when you got young coaches and they do well, that's going to bode well for other young coaches. And if they don't, it's back to the drawing board with a lot of these coaches that just get moved around the league. But I try not to talk too glowingly about the Jags. I mean, I got drafted by the Titans. I don't like the Jags. I don't like the Colts. I don't like Houston, and I don't like 6'6" quarterbacks with long hair that won't cut it. They ain't Trevor Lawrence. No, I'm just saying. I just think
I don't like mayonnaise. It's okay. I respect it.
And let me tell you something. Good well, Trav. I do not approve of Will Levis eating mayonnaise or eating a whole banana. Listen. Will Levis got something on the ownership with the Titans. I don't know what they looking at that I didn't see. I don't know what it is. I mean, they I'm just saying, everybody that was good, they let them go. I mean, everybody that was good. I mean, Derrick Henry gone. You know what I'm saying? A.J. Brown gone. He done ran everybody out of town. Even T-Rack, the freaking mascot, he wanted to get the hell out of Nashville. He got to stay. So no, but when it comes to them Jags, we'll see what happens, because if they get it right with Trevor Lawrence, it's gonna be scary for the AFC South, because no one's scared of Anthony Richardson. Daniel Jones might beat him out. Houston is ahead of schedule. And who knows what goes on with my Titans these days. As long as they got Will Levis, I don't think they're serious about winning football games.
Well, I'll say one thing. Number one, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, move over. Because we just got a new rivalry between Ben Troop. So we got one.
It's going to be a sad rivalry, but it's going to be a rivalry.
I'm here to build a legacy, and we got rivalries here. The only thing I'm going to say about this whole thing is this. The reason why Liam Cohen is there, they got rid of Trent Baalke because he wasn't going there as long as Trent was in the door. So when Trent left, well, welcome to Jackson Duval dive, whatever you call it, Trent Baalke. That's when Shad Khan woke up and said, all right, Trent, you need to go. You need to go. So what do we have here? Like I said, there's no way Liam was going to get any of the Buccaneers assistants because they were going to let him. But we got a new rivalry, people, and I'm better than Don King. And I'm going on record saying that. Don King, you don't even match up to the Motor City Man Mouse. I'm feeling good, Jen. Make sure you know it. Let all the girls know it and everybody that you talk to here. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. But at least I'm feeling good tonight anyway. So there you go. Smoking. We got Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali. We got Ben Troop and Travis Holmes. Oh, it doesn't get better than that, man. I'm telling you. But we got two chicks out here that want to decipher all this stuff here. So, all right, Jennifer, go ahead.
You're on mute.
Yeah.
Jennifer.
I forgot how to unmute myself. Sorry,
That's
guys.
all right, Jennifer.
I love that it's a young team. I am kind of with Travis on that. How they did. I mean, honestly, Liam did the bug starting. Like everybody knew that. Like you don't just ghost your employer. Like what happens if any of us ghost our employer for 3 days? You know what? No call, no show, no call, no show, no call, no show. You out the door. I'm just saying. So he was lucky, but I think it'll be good because honestly, a young GM and a young head coach growing together, you're gonna have trials and tribulations the first couple of years. But Tampa Bay is getting picked. Like he's doing a good job down there. Bowers is by getting coaches to that next level right now. And I'll give him credit because he what 1-2 like last year. We got Canales this year. You know, Jags got and Ben. Don't lie. I know you really are a big Jags fan. I saw it in your eyes. But,
Stop it.
but we're going to. But I think it'll be a cool ride. This is out of left field. Who I would like to see some of the young quarterbacks with, like Trevor. And Ben, maybe you can like add some info to this. What happened to Jadzinski? Like he was a great quarterback coach in the NFL. And then like he and Cam got into it and they don't talk no more. Like he's not in the NFL world at all, I don't think. And that's a shame because he was an amazing quarterback coach. To my opinion, I'd love to see what he could do with Trevor, with Mayo. I would love to see that. With Anthony Richardson. Good, I would love to see him with Anthony Richardson. But that's just me. I think it's great to have a younger coaching staff also because you're going to learn, you're going to grow, and everybody's all into analytics. First and foremost, analytics change. Bottom line, my husband's in charge of risk analytics, okay? Well, not at the moment. He's in charge of getting better. But normally he is. The analytics change. What happens on the field changes. You need people who are going to be able to spend on a dime. Your days of, Vince Lombardi having 5 plays, that's done. That's done because we've got to get more creative and innovative, and that's where youth and age is coming in. Like, look at McDermott. He was the youngest coach for a long time. So, I mean, and he won a Super Bowl with that. So, I don't know. I'm excited to see what the Jags will do with this. It will take a couple of years, some growing pains, but I'm very excited to see it. That's just me. But I don't hate the Jags like Vin does.
All right, so time.
Whoa. Listen. I don't. When I say I hate the Jags, it's a respectful hate. Like I don't hate them. It's just one of those things to where like they at one point they was getting everybody. Calvin Ridley, he said with two-tone blue, they was getting everybody at one point, and I had to play. Maybe it's because I had to play against the Jags when when they had they was loaded on defense. They had Mike Peterson and they had listen, I played against the Jags when the Jags were the Jags. They was winning the division and stuff like that.
Right.
So maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just when I played against the Jags, they whole defense had dreads. Whole defense did, right? Whole thing. And they used to play Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. Like, if they plan on a loudspeaker, we finna knock you out. And they trying to knock you out. That Maurice Jones-Drew, Fred Taylor. You know what I'm saying? Like, so those are the Jags teams I used to go up against. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right,
just a
that's
little
fair.
slip in from the chat. Free Featherbird. Good evening, lovely. Thank you very much for being a part of this show. Oh, this is getting more interesting. I can't wait to see Candy go ahead and comment on this.
You ready for me, or are you going to go someone else?
No, I'm going to you. You're the last one. I think she's the last one, right, everybody? Guess what? We're ready for you.
They signed Trevor Lawrence on June 14th of 2024 to a 5-year, $275 million contract extension. Highest paid player in NFL history at the time of his signing. They have to do something because to warrant that, they've got to make moves because they weren't making moves before. It wasn't working. Now, do I think going young on GM and coach is a good thing? Personally, no. Here's my thought. The younger you go, the closer to the age of the players you're actually coaching, and do they respect you? Is it the same? Do you respect someone that's the same age as you that's coaching you or close to it? I don't know. Like and what level do you have of discipline? Where are you setting the bar? Do I think Jacksonville needed to do something? Because obviously they've been slipping and slipping and slipping. Let's face it. The first year Trevor was there, they made the playoffs, right? Wasn't the first or second year? And what have they done since then? Like they were going backwards, and they needed to do something. Obviously, a lot of people thought GM was Trent Baalke was the problem, the issue. They couldn't attract good coaches because of that. There were numerous coaches that said no because they didn't want to work with Trent. So did they have to do a switch there? If you're going to switch it, you might as well switch them both. Now, will they hit on draft picks? It's always a crapshoot. We never know if everybody's going to pan out or not, if they're going to be a draft bust or not. Is the pressure on Jacksonville right now? I'm going to say this. The pressure is on every single team because, let's face it, most of these teams, you're 1 or 2 years out and you're done. If you don't perform to the level and have success to the level that they want you to, you're gone. So they have to. And they have to work hand in hand. And that's one of the things that if they can work hand in hand and agree and work together as a team, yes, they have separate roles, but they have to communicate. They have to lay down the laws together. If that works, then maybe they will. Shad Khan really, I would say, is one he's an owner that's probably one of the ones that'll give you more time than you probably even deserve. Some of these other franchises, obviously, look at how many coaches we've gone through in some of the other franchises. It's 1 and done or 2 and done. Shad Khan will give you more leeway, I think. But with that, and with being said that you gave so much money to Trevor Lawrence, there is some pressure on you to have some success.
Let me just say this. The only time that Shad Khan wasn't patient was with Urban Meyer. And let me tell you, that was bad because Travis and I and Candy witnessed it firsthand. That was bad. And the fact of the matter is, Trent Baalke whiffed by not drafting Aiden Hutchinson. Travis, I'll say to you, how badly did that set the franchise back?
I mean, I don't know if that's not the kicker. Like, you were probably named one of his better draft moves, even though it was still a bad move. And that's kind of the conversation that you really were trying to have. He had a very bad process across the board as far as building a roster. He missed on a lot of mid-round and late-round draft picks where you basically can just burn them. We can go back to the 2024 draft class. If your name is not Cam Little, the kicker, you may as well just say after the 3rd round, they just burn all those draft picks. They may not be starters this year like that, and you can't build a roster in that way. The Kansas City Chiefs basically rebuilt their secondary 2 years ago with mid-round to late-round draft picks. And you have other teams that are just saying, hey, we'll draft a special teams guy, or we'll draft some depth here. Like, no, you better draft this guy you better draft that dog that's going to come in here and try to earn a spot. Like, no, what are you talking about? Like, I thought it was bad then. I think it's bad now. So unfortunately, he's out of a job. But I also wanted to respond to just one comment that Candy made as far as the age differences between coaches. Never played it down in the NFL. I only played in college, but I played for both Matt LaFleur and George O'Leary. One of those guys is 5 years older than me. The other one is 38 years older than me. I hated the one that was way older, even though he had a way better record at the time. And I loved the one who was closer to my age because it's not about the age. It's about philosophy. Like, if I agree with you, it is, to your point, it's about that respect. and just how they communicate with you. If they have that energy and that matches mine, or those vibes that match mine, I'm cool with it, man. But the age piece don't really come into conversation for me personally.
Well, not only that, for those people out there that don't know, Travis Holmes played at what University of Central Florida for the Knights. Is that correct? You played your college football there. Is that correct?
Yes, and then I finished my career at the Northern Michigan University. That was where Matt LaFleur was the OC.
So there you go. That's his background. Everybody's given theirs. I'm glad you're able to go ahead and bring yours. All right, well, it does get a little bit easier, but boy, I tell you, I told you when I had a loaded show, I meant what I had to say. So we're going to go to Von Miller. Was released by the Buffalo Bills on March 9, 2025. Will Von Miller resurface, or will the Buffalo Bills find his replacement in this draft? Let's go to Steven on this one first.
He absolutely will resurface. Anyone who's going to be looking for an edge rusher, I think if a team doesn't get their guy in the draft or things of that nature, you could see something like that happen. Hey, I'd love to see him in Eagles green this year. Ben already told me that would be cheating too, but I don't think so. Buffalo will absolutely find his replacement. Obviously, I still think a good possibility he could wind up going back there at a smaller number too. That happens a lot. These days when you guys have a contract that's 10, 14, 15, 16 million dollars, and they don't want to pay the veteran that much money anymore, you wind up seeing them either restructure, release, and then re-sign after the draft, things of that nature. I think you could see that happening, especially with Von Miller and the Bills. But one way or another, Buffalo will replace him. I think they're still very much a AFC champion contender. It all depends on if they can get over that hump and finally get back to the Super Bowl. Is kind of up to them. They will replace him. He will be playing in the NFL for the 2025-2026 season.
Okay, I'll turn it over to you, Travis.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with what Steven's basically saying. Like, it's a salary saving move because of the dead cap they have. They still have the ability to bring him back, but more likely than not, they're not. If you want to try to find one of the cheaper options in the draft, you kind of have to do that. And this edge class has a pretty solid amount of, even just mid-round options. Like, it's a pretty deep class in the middle rounds for the edge class. So, you're talking like guys like the guy from Michigan. Goodness gracious.
Mason Graham?
Say that again?
Mason Graham?
Well, no, he's a defensive tackle from Michigan, but I'm talking about the edge from Michigan, Josiah Stewart. You got guys like that. You got Jordan Bush out of Oregon. You have Adelejo out of UCLA. We're talking third to fifth round. You probably got a good 9 to 10 guys who are options there if you're talking about just your designated pass rusher, which is basically what Von Miller has become. And for the cost you're talking about, you're talking like a $7-8 million a year difference. Yeah, they're easily going to replace him in the draft this season. And if they don't, they always have that ability to kind of circle back. But to your original point, Scott, whether or not he's going to resurface, I think this goes back to a conversation that we've had for a long time, that get off the couch money now. That's what we're talking about now. I think it's going to be less about whether or not Von's going to resurface on an NFL team and more about if he's going to be willing to get off the couch for what they're going to be willing to offer him. At 36 years old, this is going to be like, hey man, I'm going to skip camp. Let these knees heal, let these boo boos heal. And if y'all only offer me $2 million, man, I'll stay home and watch Netflix for that. But if it's going to be maybe 5-7, then maybe we can talk about it. That's what it's going to come down to.
I'll make my point short and simple. I agree with Travis 100%, and that's all I'm going to comment on it. But I'm going over to Jennifer next.
Brandon Beane, GM of the Buffalo Bills. He learned from us, Jerry Richardson, and why am I forgetting that GM's name? I'm sorry. I'm getting a migraine too. Sorry, guys. Brandon Beane's not going to re-sign Von Miller. This is his third DV call also. He got lucky that he wasn't put on the commissioner's exempt list. That, on top of his age, on top of the injuries, on top of the attitude in the locker room, and I'm sure because he's always kind of bordered on too much masculinity. I don't want to say toxic masculinity because I don't know the man, but when you've been accused of hitting the same woman 3 different times in 3 different cities, and what, 2 different football teams now? There's an issue. And Brandon Bean is not like, remember that guy, Greg Hardy? It was never clear who actually committed the domestic violence in Charlotte. But you know what? As soon as he was cleared from the commissioner's exempt list, he was fired. Why? Because after we had 2 murders here, Jerry Richardson didn't fool around with that stuff. Brandon Bean learned from Jerry and from Herney. That's what, Marty Herney. Sorry, proud of myself for that one. But Von Miller just, he might get picked up by the Cowgirls. I mean, Jerry gives a lot of people second chances, but I truly don't see Brandon Bean picking him back up. 100% I don't. And I do have to make a correction. I think you said McDermott earlier. I meant McVay, by the way, for youngest coach to win a Super Bowl. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I realized I said that, so sorry. But Bean, I'll be very surprised if he picks Miller back up. And I used to want Miller, to be honest. I mean, anybody who watches football would want Von Miller, the football player. But most teams, like, I don't see Green Bay picking him up. I don't see the Lions picking him up. I mean, Scott, do you see Campbell picking him up?
I don't.
Okay.
I think Darius Smith, if they get him cheap, they'll be able to bring him back. That's what I think.
Yeah.
They're just waiting for his price to go down. A lot of teams, like, as we know, are waiting for the NFL draft, and then they'll fill in with these free agents that are left. That's
Sure, absolutely. But I think Von Miller should have kept his damn hands to himself. Sorry.
That's okay.
I feel the same way about Miles Bridges with the Hornets, too. Just so you know.
Great stuff, Jen. All right, we're turning over to Ben. And then, you know what? I like this sort of Ben before Candy.
Man, I agree with a lot of you guys' points. I do think he will resurface in the National Football League. I don't think it'll be with Buffalo, and if it was with Buffalo, it'll be because he's going to be definitely mentoring the guy they drafted. Because when you're 36 years old, they've already given you big money. They know who you are already. It's different if you're going to a team and you pass a physical and they don't know you. No, Buffalo knows Von Miller. They know he's a third down guy. He's going to come in on rush downs. But if he is a Buffalo Bill, it'll be because he's accepted a mentoring role to help whatever young defensive end they bring in a pass rusher. The NFL is about 2 things: young and cheap. Von Miller is neither. And so in order to stay, if he wants to continue his career with a team like Buffalo, either they know he can be a good mentor and good for the locker room, or they're gonna wish him well. I mean, Von Miller, I'm not counting nobody's pockets. He's made a lot of money. And I think he's the active sack leader in the NFL right now if he does pick it up. But I just think that when you get older, you have to bring more. You have to bring more than just what you can do on the football field to stay on the team. You got to start thinking like, man, I'm here for my leadership. I'm here for what I can help these young guys do. And I don't know if that's who Von Miller is now. I'm not saying he couldn't be that. But if he wants to continue his career, like Trav said, look, if he's comparing himself now to his old self, he's gonna be watching Netflix. He's not gonna play football no more because they don't. What is the Moneyball when I want to say it was Brad Pitt when he told David Justin, "I'm not paying you for the player you were. I'm paying you for the player you are left." That's what they pay you for you when you get older. He's older. He might have a couple of sacks in him. He's not finna lead the league, even if he's coming on third down. So if he wants to be a Buffalo Bill, he's going to take a huge pay cut. It's going to look like his rookie deal when he first came into the league, if not less than that. But if he thinks he's still, got a $10 million contract in him, there are always GMs that love a Von Miller that think he can come in and be whatever they, a shell of his former self. But it's going to be on Von Miller at this point.
Turn over to Candy.
Do I think he will resurface? Yes, I do, but only if he's willing to take a big pay cut. And it doesn't matter where he's going, because I don't think there are a lot of teams out there that are willing to pay him a lot of money, knowing that he's not an every down player. He's can he be a leader in the locker room? Can he mentor people? If that's what he wants to do, but that's what he needs to know, that that's pretty much what his role is going in. Do I see it? I see it, but I also see that there's a lot of draft capital out there. There's a lot of, edge rushers out there that are trying to get into the league. And can they do the same as Vaughn? Do they know the schemes as well? No. That's where he's a leader. He's been in the league. He's seen a lot of that. He can mentor if he so chooses.
Okay, I want to talk about the topic Jennifer actually mentioned a little bit earlier. I decided to include that what we're doing. But I'm going to start with my opinion first. I usually like to wait till later, but I'm going to start. Jamison Williams unfollowed the Detroit Lions. Big deal. I think the whole darn thing's laughable anyway. Because number one, he's a guy that got his hand caught in the gambling cookie jar, and he's made himself look like an idiot on social media with his off-the-field transgression. He's arguably one of the most talented and speedy receivers in the draft. We talk about Xavier Restrepo being anything but fast. Williams can be fast, and he can catch the ball. Here's what the Lions are doing with Jamison Williams. Play the final year in your rookie contract. We think you're good enough. You're going to get franchised, period. That's what I think. So I think it's very laughable. But since Jennifer was hoping he might get to the Carolina Panthers, and you never know. But if he gets anywhere, Brad Holmes is going to get a king's ransom. If you think he went out there and fleeced the Rams to trade Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff, I can see Brad Holmes fleecing somebody for obviously Jamison Williams. With that said, Jen, you started it. Now you continue it. What are your thoughts about Jamison Williams?
You're muted, Jen.
Sorry. Honestly, like I said, I just know that I'm hearing rumors that we're reaching out, or we probably have already reached out to find out what the acquisition cost would be. I think having Bryce with somebody he's really comfortable with would help. I think Adam Thielen being able to coach him some and Adam Thielen's Adam Thielen, right? So regardless of who he plays for, he's making plays. So any young wide receiver should want to play there and learn from him. At this point, there's so many rumors. It's kind of a wait and see. I'm not going to get excited or hyped about anything for Bryce. I would love it. But I would also like a better backup quarterback. That's just me. I don't know. Jameson has great numbers, but I just want to, or has good numbers. I want to see I want to play wait and see right now. Because I'm hearing so many different things here.
Well, all I'll say is Bryce Young to Jamison Williams would be an interesting combination. That certainly would be. Yeah. We'll see if it all plays itself out. But that said, Travis Holmes, what do you think about Jamison Williams and his antics? Because if you can't play for Dan Campbell, you can't play for anybody.
Oh, that I didn't hear about. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh, that's all right. What part didn't hear about?
I didn't hear he was having some antics up there. I was just hearing the rumors here, and I looked at his numbers.
Well, no, the antics are the fact that he had gambling issues. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes worked through it. It wasn't a big deal for those two guys. But he does have a little bit of a track record up there, so we'll see what happens. Gambling, as everybody in Detroit knows, Alex Karras got banned for a year doing it. So he did pretty well after the fact. He made money. So do you think the Panthers seriously
will be calling him in all honesty?
Yeah,
I don't think unless Canales keeps him on a tight leash, because what I've seen with Canales is he leads by positivity. I like that a lot.
Right.
But I don't know that he'll deal with tomfoolery.
Yeah, he does come with Jennifer. He does come with baggage, but he's an exceptionally talented wide receiver. That's all I can tell you.
Right.
We'll see. But like I said, Brad Holmes will fleece anybody if you want the guy bad. I think they're looking to see him have a great year, and then they'll go out there and franchise tag him another year. And the Lions can still pick another wide receiver. But go ahead, Travis. I know you.
I personally don't think they franchise tag him. That's just me.
You don't think so?
I'm not in that Detroit market, so I'm a little bit farther away from it, which can be a good thing, but it can be a bad thing. Sometimes you guys have your ears to the ground. You hear these things. I get it fully, but I'm examining Jamison Williams versus the rest of the NFL. I don't see a world where I would that would be the player that I'd be wasting a franchise tag with knowing the baggage that they already have, knowing the cost of what that franchise tag looks like, knowing that I still have that 5th-year option possibility in my back pocket up until May 1st. So if you were to trade him beforehand, then the other team would also have that option and not, have to even discuss that whole franchise tag number. Yeah, with all those reasons, I mean, you're talking about a guy who barely got the 1,000-yard mark. He had 1,001 yards back in 2024. I mean, he didn't play every game. He actually missed 2 games. So that's basically a 1,000-yard receiver, but in very many ways, that offense was loaded. But it was. The Detroit Lions offense is absolutely loaded. And most teams aren't going to have that kind of success, aren't going to have those kinds of scenarios. So when they may actually need him to be something closer to a real true number 2 receiver. If that is the case, you're going to have to, I mean, the cost of what you'd be willing to give up would also have to be something that the Detroit Lions will be willing to take. And I feel like that's going to be a very difficult transaction to kind of get negotiated, because you're not going to want to give up anything substantive. You're just not, because of the baggage that he has, because of the risk that he may not even make it to that next year of his contract. And then you add the fact that he's mostly a deep ball guy. He's mostly a guy who's going to stretch and allow the other guy to eat underneath, deep, whether it's bombs, whether it's post routes, etc. There's a lot of guys who can get in the draft that can do that. There's a lot of veteran regular guys who you might get for $5 to $7 million a year who can do that. Hell, the Jacksonville Jaguars just signed a 1-year contract with De'Ami Brown to hold that same role. And I'm not saying De'Ami Brown is Jameson Williams, but I mean, that's pretty similar. That's the same routes that if you get a stacked offense. So overall, all that to say, unless the Lions are just going to give him up for nothing, I don't see how that's going to happen from both sides kind of coming to the table on that one.
All right, the only thing I'll say before I go to Steve Reichel is this. Number one, the Lions, according to General Jeremiah, are looking at taking a Michael Williams, the edge rusher out of Georgia. With that said, Stephen, what are your thoughts about Jameson Williams?
I mean, the rumors is that they're looking to move him around. They're trying to see what's out there. It's kind of the similar situation what's going on here in Philadelphia with with both Jordan Davis and Dallas Goedert. They're shipping names around, trying to see where they can move them. Like, I think what the Lions are trying to do is trying to see what the interest is, to see if they can move up to get somebody that can be impactful to the likings of some things that Philadelphia's done over the last few years to get them not just a deep playoff run, but a potential Super Bowl bid. It makes sense. You're going to start, like, as everyone's saying, like, you don't know what's smoke screen right now. You don't know what's just like we're fielding calls. Hell, over the last few hours, we just heard that the number 1 and number 2 overall picks are being shopped around as well. So we're getting down to the last 48 hours before the draft. A lot of crazy things happen. Draft day is upon us, so we don't know what's just smoke screen or what's actually happening. But I think if it's a real thing, then it's more likely them trying to gauge what they could do to potentially move up to get an impactful player.
Hey, Stephen, thanks for mentioning Dallas Goedert. We did release a video of Dallas Goedert that you can find on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel, and we also released a video about the Green Bay Packers hosting the draft, and there was somebody there that was also released on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. We'll be inserting that on a few stories as well. All right, Ben, you've been patiently waiting, so obviously I know you're cooking to get your insights, and Candy will have the final word. Go ahead, Ben. I like this combination of Ben before Candy.
I think the thing about Williams is, I mean, I guess a new thing when you a much younger player is I'm going to unfollow people. That's not a negotiating tactic. I mean, I don't think the people who care about the Lions, who make the decisions, care about you following, unfollowing me. They never even ask you to follow them. You only follow them because they employ you. No one asks you to add them to your followers list. But I think the thing about Williams is somebody will trade for him. And I think Dan Campbell knows this. As long as I got that 2-headed monster at running back, which I do, as long as I got Laporta at tight end, which I do, and as long as I got a Monse Brown, you know how much Williams benefit from having a guy that eat like a Monse Brown in the slot? This guy's first team All-Pro in the slot. He's the best slot receiver in football. So Williams is a good player, not a great player. He's surrounded by great players, and sometimes when I'm surrounded by greatness, I throw myself into that pot. No, you're a good player. Really, really good player. But sometimes perception is not reality. Sometimes you got to show a player, look, man, if you can't fall in line, you're gonna have to go somewhere else. And I think for a guy like Williams, look, you cannot coach speed, you cannot coach talent. He has both. So what? That's the National Football League. You can find that. You can find that on all other 31 teams. I just think that Dan Campbell seems to be a no-nonsense guy to go, look, if we're going to not win in Detroit, it's not going to be because I have a diva at receiver. No, I don't have time for that. We was able to win without our best defensive player last year. Aiden Hutchinson realized last year, I better hurry up and get back because they winning, and I'm not even there. So I like Williams. I like his game. But if you are Dan Campbell, I listen. And as for the football league, man, they'll treat you like cancer, man. They'll cut you out. I will cut you out just to save the rest of the body. And I think that's what they're thinking because they're looking at how they're going to pacify this young receiver. I think he'll be in Detroit, but I'm like Trav. I'm not gonna waste a franchise. If we're talking about the top 15 receivers in the league, James Williams is not a top 15 receiver. He might not be top 20. He's a good player. He's a good player. I don't want to, I'm trying to throw shade at him, but I don't care what player you are. No player is good enough for the diva mentality no more. And coaches ain't dealing with that stuff no more because they like, for what? Are we winning Super Bowl with you? No. Are we winning NFC championships with you? No. Are you a first team All Pro? No. Are you a Pro Bowler? No. So you doing a lot of so those players don't even act like that. So I hope he's the Detroit Lion come, after the draft. But if guys who just won Super Bowls on the trading block, what you think guys who didn't even make it to the Super Bowl on? Oh, you on the trading block too. You might find yourself in a new space and you might get a big deal, but that might be in a place like Cleveland. Because they're not gonna let you go nowhere for a team that's gonna win. They're not gonna trade you to a contender. But we'll see what happens. That's why the draft is so compelling.
All right, Candy has final word, and I have a quick question for Steven about a Daniel Jeremiah possibility. So, Candy, you have the final word on it. Thanks for everybody staying with us, including the panel. They knew we had a big show lined up and a couple more topics to get to, and everybody gets a parting shot. I'm glad this crew's been loyal from start to finish, and much appreciated. This is a very memorable show with everybody participating and hanging with us for a while. Candy, your final words on this, and I'm going right to you, Steven, okay?
So, Dan Campbell proved last season that he can do without players, because look at how many different members of that squad were injured. He did, and yet he continued to have success. Did he win the Super Bowl? No. Did he get there? No. But he got pretty far. So, Jameis, if you want to unfollow somebody, go right ahead. Are the Lions worried about if you're following them or not? No. I mean, but could you be traded? Absolutely. If the Detroit Lions find that they want to move up somewhere in the draft to get a different position and they get the right amount of picks or the right amount of collateral back, there's probably very few people on your Detroit Lions roster that they would not think twice about it, because he knows how to do it with everybody like he does, because Dan was able to have success with so many injuries and with the coaching staff he had. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I could see them moving parts possibly.
Okay. All right. Question to you, Steve. According to Daniel Jeremiah, he's got Shamar Stewart, edge, going out of Texas A&M, going to Philly. Do you see that as a possibility, Steven?
I mean, I do. When you have a Brandon Graham retiring and things of that nature, you lose a Josh Sweat. You need help. You're going to need help on the edge. They did sign some guys, and make some moves to fulfill some of those needs. But I still think that with the draft capital they have, things of that nature, I think we got 20 picks over the next two drafts. You're going to see the Eagles move around. Not only that, I think you're going to see them trade for some players. So, we've seen Howie Roseman kind of move up and down the board to fulfill needs. I wouldn't even be surprised if I've already said it, that I have a feeling they will not select at 32, regardless if that means they're moving up or moving down or getting a veteran and moving back. I do not think they're gonna pick at 32. edge rusher is absolutely on the board. I really like when you look at it. I think we've got 7 guys under contract that are through 28 to 29 to on the offensive side of the ball. I think when you see what's going to happen this year, I think it's absolutely it's edge. That's where you're gonna get. You're gonna see Vic Fangio loading up and getting some more guys that can go hunt.
Okay, I'm putting this comment up. This is why I waited as I peacefully put this thing together. Brian Pettit says the order is a Tennessee Titans QB Cam Ward. That's number one.
The Giants taking Shador. They got 2 quarterbacks in the free agency. So
yeah, well,
I love Brian, but I don't think Shador goes there.
Okay, well, that's fine. And I'm glad that this is up because now you guys are going to see why I put it up. And since you're the one who's talking about it first, here's what I'm going to say about this whole thing. Number one, okay, we're going to evaluate the Cleveland Browns quarterback room. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and I know Jennifer's probably might be running out of gas a little bit, but I'll get her involved pretty quickly. The fact that she's been on this long, I'm so proud of her anyways, but I'm going to start off with you, Jen. What are your thoughts? I'm going over to the Cleveland Browns quarterback room. Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, and Flacco signed a $4 million deal worth up to $13 million with incentives that will take the deal up to $13 million according to ESPN. I'm going to let Jennifer talk about these 2 topics, and then we'll let her jump off, okay?
Sorry, I'm exhausted.
Oh, no, it's okay. No, you don't have to apologize. The fact that you've been a trooper is unbelievable. So let's talk about, and let's not, and everybody will know this, the Haslams, Jimmy and Dee Haslam, have gone on record that they swung and missed on Watson. So, Jen, first of all, I want you to talk about the quarterback room for the Cleveland Browns. What are your thoughts about where it stands, and you potentially see upgrades?
Kenny Pickett is the upgrade. Deshaun Watson, with everything thrown at him. And, I mean, I'll stay on record. Some of those ladies I believe, some of them I question. Not trying to be rude or disrespectful. Just saying. That being said, that played with his mental. I don't care. I mean, Dave Sweeney never came out in defense of him. I mean, Deshaun cooked his own goose. Because truly, you never heard anything bad about that man. You never heard anything bad at Clemson, in high school, junior high. He loves and respects his mama. So, like, all the right things. And he had the same girlfriend for years. I mean, I think she dumped him after all of the allegations. He is now engaged. So, congrats to you. But I played with his mental. And Ben, you know this better than anybody else. What's the majority of the game of football? I mean, it's any sport. Yeah, it's any sport. He was also taken out of it for a year. Then, as soon as he signed to the Browns, the Rape Crisis Center in Cleveland gets 300 times what they normally get in donations. So good for them. But I mean, Kenny Pickett's the only upswing there. Joe Flacco, any older than freaking Tom Brady? I mean, I'm not even being mean.
Okay.
I don't know.
Flacco is the fine father.
There's some NFL quarterbacks not in the game that I think should be in the game. Not just one, but several. And there's some that are in the game, and I'm like, why are you still playing? I don't get it, but that's just me.
All right, so Jennifer, we're going to turn you over to the Giants quarterback room, and then you're going to have a parting shot that will let you roll. How's that sound? So you've been a part of everything that we have. Oh, no problem. So we'll talk about the fact that Russell Wilson's there. You got Jameis Winston is there. And, of course, they met with Joe Flacco. But as you talked about, he returned to Tennessee. What are your thoughts about the Giants quarterback room? I know Brian thinks that they should take Shador Sanders. But tell me where do you think the Giants are going to go when they have to get another quarterback, Jennifer?
Okay, Russell Wilson is a has-been. I never liked him anyway from his NC State days. I understood why he transferred to Wisconsin, but I didn't like him, all right? His overinflated ego, The only thing that man did that he swore he was going to do was marry Ciara. Okay, I'm just saying. But I have friends who took classes with him, and he was making that promise then. I don't like Russell Wilson. I think he's always been overrated. Pete Carroll was the Russell Wilson whisperer. This is my story, sticking to it. Jameis Winston, for me, he's that what could have been guy.
Right.
You know, because he had such an elite college career. Like, he was solid. And then some crabs got into, was it crabs or lobsters?
Crab legs.
Crab legs, thank you. And I know he just took the fall for that guy, but he got so much crap for that. I want to see Jameis Winston just have that amazing year that I truly feel like he deserves. That's just me. I don't understand what the Giants are doing when it comes to their football room, their quarterback room, because anybody who has ever watched Duke football knows you don't pay a Duke football quarterback $40 million a year. Just saying. So, are the Giants now trying to move to London or Germany? I'm just wondering. Somebody make it make sense. Because they're not making sense. And it wasn't that long ago. They were a pretty solid competitor. So that's just me.
All right, so what's just you is give me some parting shots, and then we're going to go to Ben Troop next. He's going to be on the same thing that you are. He has to get rolling pretty soon, but that's okay. He will go before Candy this time. And again, who knows? Maybe he will. I got to keep Steven engaged anyways, but he's doing a good job anyhow. So, all right, Ben, you know the drill. Here's the thing, okay? What we're going to do is the fact that, give me some comments.
So you talking about what? About the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah.
Man, listen, the fact that Joe Flacco is still in the National Football League shows that he can still play quality football. Deshaun Watson making videos talking about he's going to prove people wrong. Deshaun. I mean, I get he got to say that, but he's like, I'm going to prove everybody wrong. And Kenny Pickett is the reason why Myles Garrett re-signed, because Myles Garrett said he would want to play for a Super Bowl caliber team. He want a Super Bowl quarterback. Well, Kenny Pickett is a Super Bowl champ. So I guess they kind of feel that for Myles Garrett. That was a part of his contract. But it's Cleveland. It's not the quarterbacks. It's Cleveland. I mean, who was the last good quarterback for Cleveland? What, Baker Mayfield? Like, who was the last good quarterback? Joe Flacco is probably going to end up being the starter. Kenny Pickett going to wake up and realize, hey, I play for Cleveland now? Yeah, you in Cleveland. And Deshaun Watson, I just don't know. You know, I think gentlemen make a great point. When you've been out of football for a couple of years, and the reason why you was out was because, you know, these allegations. And listen, I really don't know how to really go into something like that. I just know that when it comes to a guy like Deshaun Watson, the last time he played meaningful football, he had a Houston, Texas jersey on. It's been a long time since he's played, and I don't know how he got a chance to sign that big contract while he was, you know, on suspension. But it's Cleveland. Until Cleveland is serious about quarterbacking in the National Football League, it's going to be much to do about nothing. They got some real good players like Denzel Ward, like Myles Garrett, you know, like Nick Chubb. And for what? You're the worst team in your division. You're not gonna be good for a long time. And dare I say, it doesn't matter who you get in the draft. If you're not getting quarterbacks in the draft, and you're addressing Cleveland needs everything, but a defensive end and a cornerback. They need everything. So it doesn't matter who they get. It's Cleveland. Nothing against them, but they gonna have to. You're not serious about football when you. I mean, I like Kenny Pickett, but you trade for Kenny Pickett and you sign Joe Flacco, and you won't just cut bait with Deshaun Watson. And I've never seen a team come out and say, "Yeah, we swung and missed with Deshaun Watson," and Deshaun Watson walking in the building. They don't usually do that. Like, "What's up, Deshaun? How you doing, Mr. Haslam? Yeah, thanks for nothing." I mean, I ain't never seen that before. You listen. You break up with the person, then you talk trash about them. You don't renegotiate the contract, then let them, you know, potentially go out there and try to, you know, compete for starting reps. That's weird to me.
All right, we got about 6 minutes left of the show. Sorry, you've given me your comments on Cleveland. Give me some quick thoughts about the Giants. Jen, did you give your parting shot yet? If you have one, fine. If you don't worry about it.
Mine's not a parting shot. It's a healthcare warning. Okay. If you have a headache for longer than 4 days, listen to your body. Call your doctor. Do a Zoom call. Save yourself. And if you're not listening to your body, listen to your significant other. Because sometimes we do know something. Right, Candy? Scott?
Yes. Yeah. All right. I'll tell you couldn't have had a better parting shot than that one. That was a beautiful one.
I love you, Scott. I'm out. I need to go home.
All right.
It
Thanks,
was a
Jen.
pleasure. And I will see you guys again.
Thanks, Jen. All right. So, all right. So we'll wrap you up real quick. And they have only like 4 minutes to go, but we had a lot of stuff. I want to make sure everything gets all done on schedule. So, all right. So give me your quick synopsis of the Giants. And I'll go as quick as I can. Travis, we're all going to go quick. Go ahead. Give me your thoughts of your Giants and a quick parting shot. Then you'll be ready to roll.
You want me to go?
Yeah. Well, no. We'll let Travis.
Okay.
We'll let.
Go ahead, Travis. Not gonna.
I'll try to make it as quick as possible. I mean, the gist of it being is the Giants. They signed 2 quarterbacks. It seems like because they believe that it seems like they don't believe in Shedeur. That was my opinion because of how early they signed them in the process. That seemed to be the case from my read of the situation. In either case, either they didn't believe in Shedeur or they didn't believe that they were going to be able to get him. And it could have been the second option, frankly. Because if the Cleveland Browns end up doing something crazy light, not actually getting Shedeur Sanders and just going with that quarterback room we just heard about, then Lord Jesus. I mean, praying for you, bro. But otherwise, now that I say it out loud, maybe maybe they do that crazy thing that people have been like floating that they actually do end up trading for Dak Prescott or something wild. That's for Cleveland specifically. I just wanted to throw that one out there because this is a terrible quarterback room, but that is something that would be amazing, and I think I would have really enjoyed seeing that chaos. But nevertheless, if it's not something that's wild like that, and they really do trot out this quarterback room with the mid-round rookie quarterback, then I don't know why Myles Garrett would have come back for this. Myles Garrett died on the football field so that they can win games 3-2 because that's basically what this is. So yeah, I don't really have a parting shot for tonight. I'm gonna give that time back to the crew. Appreciate you guys.
No problem. So you already commented on Cleveland and the Giants. Is that correct?
Yep.
Good. All right. I'll tell you what. Back over to you, Ben, for the Giants, and then you're all set. If you don't have a parting shot, that's fine. I'll make mine really quick. I want to make sure we get off in about 2.5 minutes. Go ahead, Ben.
I mean, they signed Russell Wilson. They signed Jameis Winston. They told Daniel Jones told them that he want to leave, and they told Saquon Barkley, "We're gonna let you hit free agency." The Giants are not serious about winning football games. I don't really know what else to say about the Giants, but my parting shot is this, and I'm a down this hill. No one is visiting Green Bay. Nobody is visiting Green Bay. I gotta go.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you my parting shot before you. I'm going to give you my parting shot before you get off because I've been waiting to do this one. The New York Jets get my parting shot. You know what that parting shot is? Oh my goodness! For all you people, you've got to hear this. Okay, the only NFL, NBA, or MLB team to not make the postseason during Pope Francis' tenure is the New York Jets. Did you know that? The Pope died at age 88. I was in the hospital when the Pontiff died. Ironically, when I had back surgery in 2009, Michael Jackson and Farrah Fawcett died. So when I was in the hospital, so I always know whenever I need to get key medical records, I can Google up these 3 people, and that's it. I had to get that one in there. I'll go really quickly, and that's this. As far as the quarterback rooms, Joe Flacco's the best of the Browns group. That's why they made a mistake letting him go in the first place. Jameis Winston will be better than what they have. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback later. That's all I have to say. Ben, you're done. Great stuff. Steven gets and Katie get the last word. We're going to wrap
My last word is just a simple. They're both terrible. Terrible rooms. They're both going to be terrible this year. That's it. That's all you need to say. They're going to be terrible.
All right.
If they have 10 wins between the 2 of them.
All right, Candy, put the book up real quick. You got the final word. You got 30 seconds to comment on both. Go ahead. Put the book up. That's good enough. All
book is up. I I don't know what they were thinking, why they went out and got the guys that they did, but obviously they don't think they're going to do well in the draft, so that's why they had to do it. Good luck to them because they're going to need it.
All right. Well, that does it for this edition of Inside the Pigskin. Real quick, Travis, let everybody know how they get hold of you. Fast.
Hey, you can find me right all the socials. Travis D. Holmes, BigCatCountry.com, and the Duval Dive podcast. Like and subscribe. You, Steven?
Steven Reichel, quick, and then we're done.
It's
See you next Tuesday
Steve
night.
Sports Talk 1. Stephen Rochelle. Have a good one, my friends. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. We're done.
Thanks. Have a good one.